Share my screen. Okay. Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we'll cover Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 1, Text 7. Questions by Vitura. For my prayers. Narayanam namaskritya naram shaivam narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet nashtraprayesha badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati nishchiki Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. So, two words today, text 7 and text 8. 7. Yada shabayam gurudeva devyaha kesha bhimasham sutakarma garyam navarayamasha nripasnu sayashya swarir harantya kuchakungumani. Yada, when Sabhayam, the assembly, Kurudeva Devya of Draupadi, the wife of godly Yudhishthira, Kesha Abhimarsham, insult by grabbing her hair, Sutta Karma, action taken by his son, Garyaham, which was abominable, Na, did not, Varayam Asha, forbid, Nripa, the king, Snushasyaha, of his nephew's wife, Swarai, by her tears, Harantyaha, of she who was washing, Kucha Kungumani, red dust on her brush. Translation: the king did not forbid his son Dushasana's abominable action of grabbing the hair of Draupadi, the wife of the godly king Yudhishthira, even though her tears washed the red dust on her brush. So, text number 8. Dyute tvadharmena jitasya saudho satyavalambasya vanam gatasya nayechato adasamayena dhyayam tamojusano yata ajatta saro. Dyute, by means of gambling, too, but Adharmena, by unfair tricks, Jitasya, of the vanquished, Sadhoho, of saintly person, Satya Avalambasya, one who embraced truth as shelter, Vanam, forest, Gatasya, of the goer, Na, never, Yata, Yachataha, when asked for, Adat, delivered, Samayena, in due course, Jayam, right share, Tamaha, Chusanaha, overwhelmed by illusion, yet as much as Ajata Satro, of one who had no enemy. Translation: Yudhishthira, who was born without any enemy, was unfairly defeated in gambling. But because he had taken the vow of truthfulness, he went off to the forest. When he came back in due course and begged the return of his rightful share of the kingdom, he was refused by Dhritarashtra, who was overwhelmed by illusion. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Maharaj Yudhishthira was the rightful heir of his father's kingdom, but just to favor his own sons, headed by Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra, Maharaj Yudhishthira's uncle, adopted various unfair means to cheat his nephews of their rightful share of the kingdom. At last, the Pandavas demanded only 5 villages, one for each of the 5 brothers, but that was also refused by the usurpers. This incident led to the war of Kurukshetra. The battle of Kurukshetra, therefore, was induced by the Kurus and not the Pandavas. Paragraph 2. As Kshatriyas, the proper livelihood of the Pandavas was only to rule and not to accept any other occupation. A Brahmana, Kshatriya, or Vaishya will not accept employment for his livelihood under any circumstances. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnanjanashalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Savitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupagata Mahyam Tadati Swapatantikam Om Vishnu Padhaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Ti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshadharini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I seek the blessings of all assembled devotees here, and the blessings of my spiritual master and our deity Shri Nitai Gaurachandra to speak something meaningful about these verses. So, so here it's talk about Dhritarashtra. Here the questions are asked by Parikshit Maharaj about the interactions between Vidura and Maitreya Maharishi. So that is this chapter all about. And here in this verse, we see how the actions of Dhritarashtra is a person is blind both materially and spiritually. So when it doesn't mean that when a person is materially blind cannot progress in spiritual, it's not that about. But when the person is spiritually blind but bodily strong, then that's of no use at all. So the spiritual blindness is very degraded, and the Dhritarashtra is in such a position and acting in that position. So what is happening here is Dhritarashtra, being the king, what he is not doing anything favorable for the Pandavas, even though the Pandavas do have the rights to rule the kingdom, but he is planning all sort of actions in such a way to, in unfair means, to cheat the Pandavas. And as a matter of that fact, like a gambling match was conducted and the Pandavas were cheated, and like Yudhishthira has to go to the forest, and when he returned back from the forest, and when he was asking for his fair chances for ruling the kingdom, what Pandavas asked was only for a 5 village, and even that 5 village was refused. And that was the cause for the Kurukshetra battle of Kurukshetra. So when we see about the character and the activities of Kauravas, especially Dhritarashtra being the king, Dhritarashtra, like we see about the parenting of Dhritarashtra, it's very pathetic. Like 100 children, and none of them, to my knowledge, are pious, and they were all envious with their own cousins. And what happened is, like, with this parenting, like the association of all the Duryodhana had, his own father is very impious and is very attached to the throne. that is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, like when when Dhritarashtra, even even at the end of the battle, he lost his sons, but still he is attached to the throne. That sort of a character he is. Like the concept of retirement was never in the life of Dhritarashtra. Like so, whatever happened, let me be the king. He don't see the world outside materially, but he hears. But still, I'm the king. That mentality was extremely strong in the case of Dhritarashtra. So what Dhritarashtra acted, he was in the association, and similar following the role of Dhritarashtra, his own son Duryodhana was very mean, like extremely bad in his action. And in fact, like we heard yesterday about killing of Pandavas in the wax house and all those things. So that sort of action was performed by Duryodhana. And two versions of Bhagavatam, it says, Bhagavatam says that it was performed by Dhritarashtra approved it, and Mahabharata says it's Duryodhana. He was the one who came to his father and said, but Dhritarashtra said not to do about that. But overall, as a family, they are responsible for those sort of actions, to the extent of killing his own brother's son and the family. And they were not concerned about anything. The association what Duryodhana had, like his own uncle Saguni, and he was not even one association. No, they were not interested to take one association. And on the other end, Vidura, he was staying in the assembly. He was with Dhritarashtra, his own brother. He was tolerating. He did everything to bring him out of this condition. But the interactions between Vidura and Dhritarashtra is, I know what you are saying, but I cannot come out. I'm too attached to my sons. I cannot. I don't want to do anything that is unfavorable for my sons. For me, it's only my family. It's very very narrow-minded, and I have to do anything, even though it is correct or it is not correct, but I will be doing in that way. So Vidura did all those things as a service to his brother. And one point of time, when things are not in a position to go well, he decided to walk out. And it is not because that Vidura walked out because he was being condemned. There is no respect by his family members. There's no point. It is not about all those unfavorable things that he was put into, but he thought there is no more service for him to do for his brother. And that was this reason that I heard from my spiritual master talking about Vidura. Like that was the reason that he walked out of the family. And he took this as an opportunity when Krishna unfolded the circumstances in Vidura's life. He took this as an opportunity to go towards pilgrimage and purify himself. He took that as an opportunity in his life to take his path towards spiritual consciousness. Speaking about Vidura, on the other end, Vidura is a simple and a pure devotee. Vidura is Yamaraja. So he is one of the Mahajan, right? So he is very simple, very devoted to Krishna, and he always had good intentions for his brother, and he was doing service to his brother as much as he can. But on the other end, when we try to do a lot of service with a good intention, the receiving end should receive that and try to change, or there should be some sort of reception, or something should be an outcome of that. But if nothing is happening, what is much we can do? In those situations, like time and the space has to be given for and praise to Krishna to get things going in a better shape. So that is what Vidura is doing here. And since there is no service for him, for his brother, so he decided to walk out to take the guidance from Maitreya Maharishi, Markandeya Maharishi. So, so what's happening here is Vidura, he decided to walk out. And when he went to walk out, he on the way to the forest in Vrindavana, he met Uddhava. Uddhava is a cousin of Krishna, and he looks exactly like Krishna, and he understands the mood and mission of Krishna very much. So Krishna in the material, in this planet, he lived for 125 years. And close to that time, when Krishna is about to leave this planet, he gave parting instructions to Uddhava. And during this conversation, Markandeya Rishi was there, and he was in that area, and he also happens to receive the instructions given by Krishna to Uddhava, and as the result, yeah, he was in a position to get the parting instructions from Krishna. So Uddhava and Vidura spent all night in the forest discussing about Krishna. And Maharaj says about that when Krishna was when Vidura was asking how is Krishna in Dwaraka, and Uddhava went to trance, and when he came back out of his external consciousness, when he came back to the consciousness, he was talking about Krishna, Krishna, Krishna all night. And Uddhava was given a responsibility to go to the northern country, Badrinath, where he had some service to, and he was asked to go and take association of Naranarayana Rishi. So Uddhava has a mission to go there, and he said that Vidura, I cannot spend more time here. I would suggest you to go and meet Markandeya Rishi, who is close there, and you should be in a position to take shelter of him, and in the association, you should be in a position to go further. And that was the conversation between Uddhava and Vidura happened. So here, when speaking about the glories of Vidura, is very simple person, and Krishna really liked him very much. One incident that happened that comes to mind is when Duryodhana, when Krishna went to meet Duryodhana as a peace messenger in Hastinapura, like Duryodhana welcomed Krishna at the outskirts of Hastinapura with the royal means, like the streets are cleaned, sprinkled with rose water, banana leaves, and all those arrangements were there. And they invited, Duryodhana invited Krishna to come to home, and Krishna said for lunch. Krishna was invited for lunch, and he said, there should be two reasons that I should come to home. One is I am not hungry to eat a lunch. And even if I am not hungry to eat the lunch, I have to commit myself to your request because of the love. but I don't have that love for you and you don't have for me. Because even though Duryodhana was acting in such a way that he was having such a love for Krishna, but it all just the words that coming from the mouth, not from the heart, and the previous action or the intentions what Duryodhana had, it's nothing but of a duplicity, like something inside and something that's coming outside. So Krishna bluntly said, no, I don't want to come to your place, but there is another place that I'm going to visit. And he visited Vidura's house. And Vidura's wife was confused, on seeing Krishna, in the sense like it's an ecstasy. And she served, one version says that she served Krishna with banana peels instead of a banana, and Krishna ate. Another version says that she served a porridge with very limited stuff, whatever she had. So the love is the important thing, and Vidura had that kind of love. When that kind of love and that relationship is between Vidura and Krishna, Vidura can directly go to Krishna itself. Why he walked away to the forest of Vrindavana for taking to pilgrimage? He knows, Vidura knows that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He had that relationship. But he could have gone that. But our Acharya says that he decided to purify himself. He is not eligible because he is contaminated. The actions and all those things that even though he was doing as a service to his brother, but it's so demeaning, and so he decided he needs to be purified. He is not qualified to go before Krishna. So he decided to take a shelter of Markandeya Rishi. And he decided to go towards the pilgrimage. And that was the reason that he walked towards the forest and take the association of saintly persons. So he went there. That's something similar to Sanatan Goswami, right? When Sanatan Goswami met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he decided to come back. He decided to leave his job and take a complete shelter with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like when I asked Guru Maharaj about the question, like what was the reason why he felt the Prime Minister job, why Sanatan Goswami felt the Prime Minister job was so sinful. The reason for that being sinful is not the position, not the job. It is the person to whom he is associated with. The king, Nawab, he's very sinful in nature. He was doing so many things. And even just to associate and just to work with him, when you association terms means to reveal the heart. I'm not even talking about that sort of association. Yeah, a transactional based association in our language. When says in our we go and work for our CEOs and all those things, but we don't know. Like so even for working, just doing our job and coming back. So here in this case, like. Sanatan Goswami and Vidura, they felt like this is sinful and they decided to purify themselves. So Vidura is walking away from this sort of work, and he's moving towards the spiritual shelter. So Srila Prabhupada says this as sober, right? Dehi nosminyata dehi kaumaranya banam tata dehantra dhira tatramati. So Dhira is a sober person. Sober person is the one who uses his intelligence in the right way. Using intelligence in the right way means when situation happens, where we take shelter. Taking shelter, like in today's world, when something manifests in our life, the first shelter many of us try to take is on Google. Why? What is this? We try to seek information. We try to do something on our thing and try to do something. We try to bend the situation and do something. But the sober, the dhira, is a person who takes intelligence in, who takes spiritual shelter. The intelligence is trained in such a way to take a spiritual shelter than the material shelter. So that is the intelligence that he is taking. Vidura is taking that sort of intelligence. And Vidura, he was chastised. He was not respected by anyone there, other than few good souls like Bhishma Dev, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, and some other persons. Like, they were also speechless in the assembly, because everyone tried to give good knowledge to Dhritarashtra. Nothing worked, and the Duryodhana and his associates were very cruel in treatment, but he was not offended. Vidura was not offended. Vidura was like the shoes of Sri Ramachandra, right? The shoes of Ramachandra had a like the feelings of the shoes of Ramachandra is like, even if the shoes is placed on the throne, on the royal throne, it doesn't feel elevated. It doesn't feel extremely happy or anything like that. And when the shoes are walking in the forest, on the earth, it doesn't feel sad, or it doesn't feel anything like that. Like it's a shama. It's more a forbearance. So Vidura is like that. He was in a position like to tolerate, and he was forbearing everything as a matter of a service. So that was the mood, like Vidura in trying to correct the actions or trying to do something for Dhritarashtra. So with all these things, nothing worked, and Dhritarashtra is too attached. He was rejecting all these things, and law of providence tries to. When law of providence is acting, nothing much can be done. Like we should accept it as will, and at one point of time, it may manifest, it may unfold, or it may not, but we should not try to bend it with our own wings. So I hear from my spiritual master many times, try not to twist Krishna's plan. Try not to twist Krishna's plan. So it's to accept what that is. Whatever that is happening is for my own purification. Let me take the shelter. Let me render my prayers so that I get the strength to overcome this. And the message here is I should tolerate. Like we hear about a lot in Bhagavad Gita about tolerate, and we try to act in a way, and we try to seek shelter of saintly persons, and how to overcome, how to process this, and how not to be disturbed. So that is the thing that we, as a practicing devotees, or a person in a mixed consciousness should try to adapt, rather than twisting that plan. So that is what it is. If you see the life of Vidura, it's more about accepting and progressing towards that without deviating from the services with good intentions. And here the final paragraph talks about even though like all these things are happening, and the Kshatriyas are supposed to live only by ruling the kingdom, they should not be accepting any other occupation. So Srila Prabhupada talks about Varnashrama Dharma, where Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, they are everything is divided and arranged based on the modes of material nature, and work has to be done based on that. As a Kshatriya, they are responsible for ruling the kingdom and administration, so they are supposed to do that. In such a case, here Duryodhana and his associates, and favored by Dhritarashtra, all by unfair means, they are rejecting to give the kingdom, or at least the 5 villages, to rule, and this is the sole cause for the battle of Kurukshetra. So Krishna's intervention is there for Pandavas. Just because Krishna is there for Pandavas, and Duryodhana has no interest for Krishna, but he was coming up with some pleasing words just to try to get Krishna's attention and stuff, but nothing worked with Krishna. Krishna can sense anything, whether he's straight to us or whether he's present or not. He can scan our heart and find our intentions and our tendencies. So Krishna is no obligated, because you are inimical to Pandavas, you are also my enemy. That was Krishna's statement to Duryodhana, and he didn't give any favor, and he gave the favor to Vidura. So this is wonderful thing to know about the questions of Vidura, and Vidura is a inspiring personality in the Itihasa. And thank you very much for giving an opportunity to speak something about the questions of Vidura. If there are any discussions, let's use some time. I took 3 minutes over 8. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much. It was very nice class, although I joined late, but it was very nice from the whatever I heard. And the most fascinating thing was about the Vidura was like Lord Ramachandra's shoes. That was first time I'm hearing something like that. It was very wonderful, Prabhupada, the analogy. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
The shoes of Ranganatha has a connection in the shoes of Ramachandra. That is why Vedanta Desika, right, he wrote glory, thousands slokas about the shoes. We hear about even if you catch the dhoti of Srila Prabhupada, we can go about, if you have the glasses of Bhakti Siddhanta, all those things will take us to the spiritual planet. The paraphernalia of the Supreme Personality of God or his devotees are so wonderful. That is very inspiring. Especially the shoes has very powerful pastimes and powerful messages to convey to us.
Wow, thank you so much.
Any other questions or discussions? Okay, if there are no questions or discussions, thank you very much for providing this opportunity. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.